I will also kind of walk you through a case study of how we approached our own website, Elementor.com, and kind of remaking it, rewriting it, and reintroducing the company basically and the product to the world. So I hope you'll stick around.
Yes, I'm sure they will. The interesting thing is that, we call it a website, but in essence, it is a product. So we will try to see your website as a product today. Jonathan will help that a lot. We're looking forward to learn from you, and you don't need me here anymore. So without further ado,
take it from here.
I'm going to leave it and talk soon.
Thank you, Despina. All right, so as Despina mentioned, my name is Jonathan Maimon. I'm the Director of Product Marketing at Elementor, and we are going to spend the next hour talking about how, at least I view my, personally, the importance of web assets and web elements in the product marketing work and in the product marketing discipline. Before we continue, I've learned over the years that you really get people to listen by sharing a few personal details about yourself. Then you become a little bit more rounded as a human and less a face inside a square. So, as I said, my name is Jonathan Maimon. I'm the Director of Product Marketing at Elementor. I am very, very fortunate to lead a team of extremely talented PMMs and researchers, some of which you can see in the picture, smiling on the very iconic pink staircase of Elementor. I live in Tel Aviv, Israel, which is where I'm talking to you now today. It's a very rainy day, kind of the first we've had in a while. I'm married to Lilach, a fellow PMM as well. So there's a lot of shop talking in the house. We exchange a lot of ideas. I am a father of Geffen, a 9-month-old human being, and Lucy, a 2.5-year-old bunny, both which are very dear to me. And I am you can call it a retired musician, because you can't really ever retire from music. You can only not practice it on a regular basis. I was a professional musician for the better part of my 20s. It's still exists in who I am and what I do and how I approach things. Unfortunately, the professional aspects of it had to make room for other things. Okay, so now that we kind of got to know each other a little better, let's dive in. So on the top left, you see what is officially recognized as the first public web page. So when the internet was officially introduced for the public in 1991, the World Wide Web, this was the first web page that was live on the air. As you can see, it has very little beyond plain text and some hyperlinks. This was still groundbreaking at the time. If you can close your eyes and imagine how technology looked to you in the early 90s. And then on the bottom right, you have a pull out from what I kind of consider to be one of the best product homepages around, which is Figma's homepage. Figma, generally speaking, is a product I adore greatly. I use it on a daily basis, and it has been very, very transformative, specifically to the web design industry. And so kind of, in 30 years, we've gone from the ability to display text as part of a publicly accessible web address that people can navigate to creating fully fledged experiences, to create apps that live inside websites, to create software as a service, which are fully formed and kind of deep and profound software solutions that hitherto existed on as an installation file for something you would install on your desktop. Everything now lives in your browser, which gives the web page specifically as a vehicle for communicating product benefits that much more important. And we will go in a little bit through the various ways in which web pages serve the product that is at their core, or the product that they eventually link to, in a way that is absolutely irreplaceable. Let's actually go down to here and kind of what we are going to be discussing. So as I said, web pages for me, and this is something that will kind of be woven into my entire presentation. Why I feel, and as a product marketer and as a product marketing leader at the company I work for, and as a product leader in a company that creates a web building platform, why I feel that web pages specifically are, in fact, the pinnacle and the cross-section of all product marketing skills, how they can be used, in which ways web pages are ideal for communicating product benefits, how do we measure them, what do we want to look at. That is a very significant part of what we're going to talk about. What I believe is kind of the winning recipe for a successful feature page. And with the time that we will have left, I will walk you through the process of how we transformed Elementor.com from what it was and what it served the company in its early stages, and how we approached this as we matured and as the product deepened. Okay, so a few areas in which I feel web pages and web elements are absolutely ideal in being vehicles for users to explore products and to use products, or to access product funnels, more than, I guess, any other form of marketing and any other asset that might be delivered to them. For one, as web pages, still kind of not deviating too far from the text and link as part of a permanent and publicly accessible address. Ultimately, what web pages are meant to achieve is to deliver messaging through storytelling. At the core of product marketing, and one of the things that you can argue a lot about what product marketers do and what their job description is, but one thing that is very rarely argued is that they establish and develop and distribute the product narrative. And that is being manifested and played out through product messaging, which means, what do I want users to think about and to understand about the product, and how it impacts their lives, and the various ways in which they can use them, and the various problems that this product solves. And so web pages are extremely effective in delivering messaging through storytelling, because ultimately it is a rhetorical document that can inhabit. Sorry, yeah, closer to the mic here. Sorry. Hear me better now? If that doesn't work, I can switch mics also. Okay. I hope you can hear me better now. I am a little bit closer to the mic. Okay. So as I said, ultimately, web pages are a combination of text with various hierarchies and typographies, visuals, links, embedded content, and it is extremely effective in that regard to the actual form of messaging delivery, because you can you have very distinct control over what is more prominent than other, what is more visible, what is bigger, what is first, what is second, what is basic, and what is advanced, what is the main call to action, and what is actually, like, it's, it would be nice if you also checked out. So messaging is all about what's the first thing in order of importance, what's the second thing, third thing, what is relevant for 90% of the users, what is relevant for 1% of the users. A web page allows us to create that and deliver that hierarchy extremely well and extremely effective. Another thing that a web page allows you, because because we've come so far, and because technology has enabled for so many things to exist within a website. If you are, for example, a company like, I'm sorry, so we saw here a screenshot of the hero section, the first fold of a website from a company called Gong, which are kind of a industry leading in sales enablement and in optimizing sales cycles. This is from the website of a product called Zeppelin. The product designers in the audience surely are familiar with Zeppelin, and it's to this day, I think, one of my favorite websites, and I've tried to kind of figure out how I'm almost kind of stealing this little nugget for one of my own pages, since Zeppelin is a program and is a service that allows for front-end developers and product designers to communicate together under one workspace. And because product design has a lot to do with the size of elements and the color of elements and pixel perfectness, and so if you go on Zeppelin's main website and you hover over the main CTA, this little grid pops up, and you can see what the radius of the button is and what the hex code for it is. So kind of, you immediately get a sense of like, okay, I understand what this product is about. And for a company like Zeppelin, this is a huge branding opportunity to show that, they are actually actively incorporating their philosophy and their product benefit into little supposedly insignificant elements of their website. So in this way, they were able to flex their own branding and design capabilities. Again, a product meant for product designers and front-end developers. So this is, this sort of a wink towards the professionals is usually very highly appreciated. It can be the starting point of the customer journey. As we said, SaaS products are the norm. Okay, no one hardly ever creates desktop apps. Everything is cloud-based and everything is browser-based. However, you need an entry point. You need a starting point for users to enter a funnel. Even if this funnel exists entirely on the web, you need an address, a URL for what we call anonymous traffic, so those who aren't signed up or aren't subscribed to a service. And so web pages are, by nature, the entry point and the starting, the place where a customer journey starts. It's the place where you want to highlight your main value proposition, the reasons why customers should believe that your product will solve the pain point that they are suffering from. You want to be positioned better than your competitors. You want to even maybe compare yourself, or to make yourself analogous with a competitive or similar products. Or in case of Lemonade, you want your customers to forget everything they knew about insurance. Lemonade is one of the main disruptors in the insurance field. Happens to be an Israeli startup as well, and they're doing very, very well in the home insurance market in the US. If you click check our prices, that will essentially have brought you into the funnel. You have created an account, all through a very, very minimalistic but heavily branded first fold hero section of a website. Another thing, web pages, specifically those who serve product companies and their features, do very well, is by breaking down complex product benefits. We have, since again we are in the era of SaaS platforms usually are extremely deep and extremely varied in the features that they offer and their capabilities and the buyer's persona that they've identified for themselves. And what web pages can do very, very effectively is to break down those complex product benefits so that I, as a layperson, for example, Airtable has basic applications and extremely advanced applications. I want to be onboarded onto those. I want to start with what I know and what I can expect from day one, and to have in my imagination somewhere down the line how I'm graduating to more and more complex features as my use cases expand. And so Airtable, for example, does it very, very well with having a very clear and albeit a little simplified messaging on the left, connect everything, achieve anything, and then they expand a little bit on that in their H2, the subtitle, the subheader of the hero section. But then on the other side, they show me visuals that allude to the complexity of the platform. So I'm seeing charts, I'm seeing invites, I'm seeing chat, I'm seeing status notifications. So I can sort of start envisioning and imagining how that experience would be for me as an end user. Of course, another thing, and we will get to that obviously later in the session, is web pages allow for measurement opportunities. Web pages come built in with a variety of kind of let's make up a term: eventable assets and pieces of content, stuff that you can assign events to, and it immediately places a benchmark for different types of traffic and different types and different cohorts of users, and you can sort of place all these measurement opportunities all throughout the page, and you can start measuring which button, which call to action, which visual, which offering performed better. For example, here you have Monday.com's homepage, and you see that there's a checklist above the main CTA of what would you like to manage with Monday.com WorkOS. So even before you were a logged in user, Monday.com has basically provided themselves with an opportunity to learn more about their anonymous traffic by offering a very low friction, low commitment sort of engagement checkbox interface. Something that everyone that comes to Monday.com will probably find themselves and can identify with. Sorry, a sip of water. Which also serves as a way for them to really place their target audience. They're basically saying, these are our buyer's persona. This is what you can do. This is what you can expect to achieve and to optimize and to work without limits around project management, marketing, software development, and so on. They've essentially provided themselves with a data enrichment layer about traffic coming to their homepage, which is a really smart move. And of course, delivering messaging through experiences. I think one of the things we didn't really touch upon up until now is that with the standard of user experience being what it is today, and with standards of user experience that previously applied to the products themselves, are making their way to up the funnel. So these experiences And this is kind of also maybe summarizing most of what we've looked at so far. It's the ability to deliver messaging, deliver a story, to deliver content and product benefit through a web experience, through something that that visitors would actually enjoy consuming and enjoy scrolling through. Scrollytelling is a buzzword that is kind of being circulating around. Look into that. This is something we've been trying to also apply to most of our designs recently. So something that people will not just consume content rhetorically and passively, but will actually be engaged and interested and fascinated because we are able to deliver such experiences today. So when we're talking about web content, we've seen most of them. We're talking about sort of ad hoc pages such as marketing landing pages and lead generation. So most of those things you would see if you would look something up on Google and would click on one of the SCM ads, one of the sponsored search results. Usually you would land on an ad hoc page that serves that particular ad for measuring purposes, which the main purpose of such a page is to get you moving forward as fast as you can, while providing you with enough information and enough reasons to believe that on the other side there is a legitimate offer and something that answers your initial query. Product launches. As we've seen, web pages are extremely effective in breaking down complex product benefits. So if you're launching a new product and that product does something that is relevant for 90% of the users, and then a little bit more that is relevant for 50, and that is relevant for 20, that is relevant for 10, and relevant for 1, a website is extremely effective form of delivery for that messaging. There are many ways to support a product launch. People do videos, people do emails, they do social posts, they do blog posts. I believe wholeheartedly that you haven't really cracked your new product or your new feature if you haven't laid it out in web form, because a blog lets you write infinitely as many words as you can. There's no limits in blogs. Videos, there are too many limitations in video. It has to be of this length, and video production is relatively expensive and laborious. And there's something about a website that just kind of encapsulates all. And also, it can be the starting point to every other material that you have produced. This is a practice that we at Elementor try to adhere to with every new feature we release. We try and make sure we accompany that with a dedicated page, partly because we want to provide an experience together with the product benefits, and also because we are a website building company and we like to show that we eat our own dog food and that we use our own product whenever we can. Evergreen pages on a website, so that is everything that exists in the header menu or the footer menu or the homepage itself. Stuff that are there, usually evergreen pages tend to kind of spring up in a very concerted effort and remain there sometimes for even several years. Usually it's a kind of cross-company effort to determine what the content and the main messages of these pages would be. And we would, I'm not going too deep into that because I want to save something for the end when we talk about our own journey to redo and revamp Elementor.com. Pricing pages and purchasing flow. Most products nowadays have some sort of area in which users need to choose how they wish to pay for the feature, which plan they wish to choose. There are different sets of rules and best practices for how you construct pages like that. I've been up to my neck in those in the last several months. but it is absolutely fascinating to approach the psychology behind making a purchasing decision when you have very similar products juxtaposed against each other. How do you create differentiation? How do you justify for a price? How do you make two different products comparable or incomparable? And it very much harkens Seth Godin's legendary positioning book, which actually talks about placing products on supermarket shelves. So it kind of feels a little bit like that. And SEO pages, I've listed them separately because obviously a great deal about web content is the ability to discover it and to stumble upon it in the right context. And so sometimes in order to achieve that, you would create pages that are built for the sole purpose of being discovered around a specific topic. And they don't necessarily are about delivering an experience or delivering a specific messaging, but just to be something that comes up in search results. And that will be the starting point for any journey further into the website and the product. Oops, sorry. And as I started, basically, I think one of the main principles and what really appealed to me about creating this and kind of delivering this talk is I'm extremely passionate about what I do. I stumbled upon product marketing almost by accident. Little known or not little known fact at all. I've been doing product marketing for the better part of the last 6 years, all of which have been around, let's say, technology enablement products. So things that help ordinary people achieve professional results, particularly around building websites and building web presences. I've prior to Elementor, which I've been working in for the past 18 months. I was working at Wix, so essentially the other across the street, for about 4 years. And so kind of I've been around both product marketing and website building platforms and how to use websites with product marketing disciplines to promote website building platforms. Not try and say that really quickly 5 times in a row. And I became very passionate about both the aspect of creating and delivering effective website experiences, as well as product marketing. And for me, product marketing is, in many ways, as I said, to be the main and the most effective storyteller in every organization that we are a part of. And storytelling comes in various shapes and forms, and there's a variety of storytelling disciplines within the tech realm, and I for one am extremely extremely happy and excited that this is getting more and more spotlight in recent years, especially I want to say in the last 2 years, when companies realize that they do need to sell themselves better in the form of stories if they want to acquire new audiences and new customers that were rushing online and suddenly using tools that were a few sizes too big for them, so that they can restart their business online after their store or their bar or their restaurant shut down. So for me, websites, web elements contain the main storytelling disciplines that product marketing employ every day. UX, copywriting, so what you're experiencing as you're scrolling through the page, what you're reading, the choice of words, the design and visual content. So both, the colors and the general layout of a page, and the actual images and imagery and visual language that is being displayed. funnels, which is one of the key things that product marketers are obsessed with. So what made someone make it from point A to point B in one piece without dropping? So this always starts with the highest point in the funnel, which is in most cases a page. And brand, as we've shown, I've yet to encounter a more effective and impactful way of communicating who you are and your brand values in a memorable way, and more than a landing page or more than a web page. As I've mentioned in the beginning, what I and sort of kind of I look at web assets and web elements from two different perspectives. One is, yes, I enjoy creating beautiful things with talented individuals, and I enjoy the marriage of many storytelling disciplines. But I also really, really like how web pages just allow for us to measure what is very rarely measurable, because you can plug every piece of the website to analytics tool or analytics service, because you're able to see where most of the visitor attention went to, how far down did they scroll, where did they click most, what happened ultimately with each click, creating various funnels from various call to actions. Test different visuals, testing different messaging. So a lot of the times it is very, very difficult for us to, let's say, measure our branding effort or even measure product marketing efforts. That is, a lot of the times it's very notoriously difficult to measure. And putting a web page in front of the product just invites for is an invitation for a lot of new measuring opportunities and a lot of new funnel behaviors and cohort analysis that can later have enormous impacts on growth, on adoption, on how you upsell your product, how you optimize your marketing efforts, how you account for attribution of various channels. And everything on the page is an event. Every element, every piece of text and button and image and section can be assigned to an event. It's something that is significant for you to measure. That's the beautiful thing about web pages, in my opinion, is that they just, apart from being very experiential and very kind of pleasing to look at and to scroll up and down, and a means to tell a story. They do, I guess, what every marketer always dreams of, which is to combine story with numbers and to show how messaging A performs better in a monthly cohort than messaging B, and how call to action 3 got the least clicks, but the clicks that came from call to action 3 resulted in purchases of higher plans, for example. So all of that is something that you would want to measure and you would want to keep a clear image of, because that is always the starting point for the next iteration and the next optimization you would want to do with your pages. Some things to look out for. I've been talking a lot in praise of experiences and in praise of brand, and how there's really like no limit to what a web page can be in the pursuit of communicating product benefits, communicating a main action that needs to be taken, and sort of what the next step is and why this is the right thing to do. In order for all of this to be effective, we do need to be minded of a lot of potential pitfalls and areas that we would want to kind of make sure we place our attention on. So, for example, I always put a great deal of attention on the hero section of every web page I'm involved in. Ultimately, as far as I'm concerned, the hero section needs to be something that captures as close to 100% of the intentions that brought people to this page to begin with. If I can't deliver an effective and coherent message in the initial section, then I guess I kind of I failed. Just a second. Okay, so hero section coherency. So basically, what will get everyone to scroll down, preferably, or even just to click on the main button and make it through to the next step. It all depends on your hero section coherency. I put this screenshot from the main. It kind of deviates from, I guess, what the main topic we're talking about. But it's a classical example of something I hate so much I love it. This is the website of a London-based restaurant, and their website is immaculately made. It is like you would not think this is a restaurant's website, and it's when I first encountered it about 2 years ago, it was also very, very unclear how do you even use it for the purpose it was designed, which was to book a reservation. Now they've made it a little bit clearer, but if you go on that website, it's a restaurant called Sketch. They're a really good restaurant. I have nothing wrong to say about that, but their website is kind of favored the experience and the kind of what you would say about the website rather than what the website needs to do. So we're looking at hero section coherency. We're looking at page performance, a very, very important aspect that is becoming more and more relevant, specifically with something called Core Web Vitals that Google announced several months ago, and it's a new standard for ranking pages, which account for various performance-related metrics on a page, specifically on mobile. So if you want to look at page performance and mobile experience, those are things that will heavily impact how a page is ranked. And how ranked, I mean, what will be the page's SEO score, and by association, its efficiency. Flashy UI. So like this is more or less why I pasted this example here. You want to flex your branding, but you also want people to understand where they are and where they need to go. And you might want to kind of show off that you have really, really advanced design capabilities and development capabilities, but you kind of want the experience to be clear and to not get lost in the bells and the whistles of the experience you were really, really struggling to create because you thought that would serve a purpose. Which kind of also ties to the next bullet, compounded experiences. You want the navigation from one page to another to feel like it's all part of the same platform. Context and tone switching. This has more to do with how the page reads. So you don't want to kind of switch too quickly from formal to informal, from product speak to brand speak to social media speak. So you want to approach your web elements while you've already kind of established your how shall I put it, kind of your guide to voice and tone of your product and your brand, and obviously the right length for the purpose. Notice I've written the right length, not long or short. Some pages need to be 3 sections long. Some pages need to be 30 sections long. It all depends on what those pages are meant to serve. For example, one of the most popular pages on Elementor.com is something we call /features, which is a feature index that is, I don't know if I would have to print it on paper, how long it would be, but it is quite long. It takes several scrolls to reach the bottom. However, we've scratched our heads and we've looked left and we've looked right, and that was the most effective way to present the depth and breadth of all the features that our product have, and we're not alone in that. Most companies with deep products that serve a variety of personas do so. They have areas on the websites that are longer because that serves the purpose. A marketing landing page can be 2 or 3 sections long because all you need is a main call to action and a main reason to click forward. So kind of things that you might want to keep an eye out for. So let's kind of go through, and I'm kind of looking at the clock. I see we have about 15-ish minutes to go. Okay, so what's in an effective feature page? How do we approach breaking down a feature or a unique value proposition of the product that stems from a feature or a combination of features? How do we break it down into an effective page? So as we said, bold, coherent hero section with the number one unique value proposition. I'm not going to go through the process of how you distill your number one unique value proposition. Might do a different workshop on that at some point. But ultimately, through a very rigorous process of user interviews, of interviewing different stakeholders, of trying out the product and trying out the competitors, you should have arrived with your number one value proposition. So this is a screenshot taken from our editor feature page. So one of the more prominent pages that both kind of tries to encapsulate our core product and also our core value, which is the fact that our product is a drag and drop editor. And so build intuitively with our drag and drop editor, that was the number one value proposition. Get started is the main CTA. A visual that supports that, of a hand kind of placing things in a Jenga tower, that is courtesy of our studio. This is, as I said, this needs to resonate with 100% of the people who view this page. They need to immediately understand why they're here. What is happening the soon they do this? Sorry, this with their mouse or their trackpad. What's next is, and that is, I guess, kind of where there are several schools of thought. For me, within the view of one screen size, you want to show your main UVP and how that main UVP breaks down into three kind of main product benefits that support that, which we call AAA. So below the hero section, you would have kind of these 3 items that break down the main value proposition. So we have live editing, we have pixel perfect design, and powerful assets. Those 3 are in support of this. This also serves as a kind of a speed bump for people to hover over for a second and to provide context for what's about to come next. And then various lengths and various number of items. You start to list your product benefits. Usually I approach this from what I feel is most universal and covers most use cases, and I go more and more niche and more advanced as I move down the page. So you start with intuitive editing, and then you go further into custom breakpoints, which is slightly more advanced, and then you start introducing complementary features. So you have dedicated areas, contextual areas in the page that present and showcase actual features. And we're showing UI, so that users who have experienced this page know what to look for. Advanced use cases is something that we usually kind of pull out and make a specific case out of, and that's something that kind of follows what would be something that most people would use. So we talk about speed and performance. We talk about open source stuff that is relevant for a smaller target. A feature grid, which is kind of like everything else we wanted to say and couldn't find a place for. This is a regular kind of go-to cheat that product marketers and marketers in general use, in which you say, we've kind of listed the main product benefits, the main unique value propositions, but we have like 20 more features lying around, stuff that are important that we want to showcase, and comes the feature grid to the rescue, which is a dedicated section in most feature pages that groups together all of the, let's call them like miscellaneous or rudimentary features that don't really fit in any other under any other category. Social proof, testimonials. Testimonials are a little controversial. I have kind of yet to form an opinion, a foolproof opinion about testimonials. Sometimes they do the job. Sometimes they feel fluffy. I think in a lot of cases, web visitors are blind to them by now. I don't know if people actually sit down and read, but because at least I can speak, I can attest to our own testimonials that they are all, in fact, genuine. We actually are very fortunate to have a product that is extremely loved and used. And we have 10 minutes to go, so I'm going to speed up a little bit. And I send off to kind of talk about what's ahead and what's next, and where I want to take users from where they are now to their next destination. This, for example, it can be a page that offers complementary information and is the next step in the journey of the story I want to tell them. Or the next step is usually either an opportunity to sign up, to purchase, to enter a funnel of sorts. This is kind of where the website and the product blend together. And so this is a checklist. We've just covered this. I'm going to skip over that because I want to spend a few minutes talking about how we reimagined Elementor.com and how we use that as an opportunity not only to develop a new brand and design language, but also to fully own the website product and the funnels that it generates as part of the product marketing team. So if you went to Elementor.com prior to June 8th, 2021, this is what you saw. This was the look and feel that Elementor had since its inception. And on the other side, you have this. Actually, caveat, if you go to Elementor.com now, this isn't what you will see. The problem is I was making this presentation in the last week while we were having a Black Friday sale, and for the life of me, I couldn't find an updated visual of our homepage without Black Friday. So this is an earlier draft, but this is exactly what you would find written and displayed. So we've moved from this, the world leading WordPress website builder, something that was very, very important to communicate, and showing a kind of very hardcore product demo below, to something that talks a lot more softly and a lot more holistically about the vision and about where we are headed, and talks less about where we are placed inside a larger ecosystem. And naturally, also the look and feel is something that can't be ignored. And so we set out to tell our story, to engage our visitors, and to match our new branding. Ultimately, we've worked very hard on creating a new brand, and new typography, new color scheme, new visual language, which had to play out inside our website. And so we broke it down bit by bit. The homepage was obviously a massive challenge. It is said that the pricing page is owned by marketing. The feature pages is owned by product or product marketing. The homepage is owned by the CEO. Usually, the content, the order in which the content appears, the language, the stats, the hierarchy is usually determined by the CEO, by the person who calls most of the shots in the company. And I can attest to our own CEO, Yoni Luxemburg, who is a web designer by trade. That is how he came about founding and creating Elementor. That this was done in full partnership, and down to choosing our statement, the H1 of the homepage, create websites, design your future, was something that was chosen in kind of full democracy and respect to everyone involved. And so the homepage is the entry point to our story and to the funnel, as we've covered before. It was very, very important for us to demonstrate that we are a platform that is built for a variety of users' persona, and that it comes pre-built and pre-baked with abilities that can serve designers, developers, marketers, agencies, small businesses. And so we created dedicated pages that touch upon the various pain points of each one of these personas. If you look at elementor.com, you will find those under the 4 submenu. We introduced 7 web creation pages in which we've taken Elementor, the product, and broke it down to 7 main value propositions, which we've packaged under web creation. So we've seen a little bit of our editor page, improving workflow, our dozens of widgets that we offer, our e-commerce capabilities, our marketing capabilities, the fact that we are a part of the WordPress ecosystem, and everything we have for advanced users. All of these enabled us to tell a very well-rounded and multifaceted story for basically any use case that may arise. And these evergreen pages have since become very, very effective destinations for marketing campaigns, and have become very effective in SEO because they actually create a messaging ring around the product, capturing various intents as they present themselves. We have obviously taken our existing feature pages, which were created in the very early stages of Elementor, and we redid them, reapproached them, rebriefed them, thought about them in kind of future facing eyes, and we are still the process is still ongoing. There are still a dozen more pages that we are working on and adding more. And of course, we can't forget our pricing pages, entry points to the purchase flow, and how they were used to highlight main reasons to purchase, everything that happens below the comparison table, reasons to believe, stuff to expect. Also a very, very delicate area with a lot of stakeholders involved. Designed our footer menu. Oh, I forgot to add a slide about our header menu. Basically, this was an endeavor that resulted in putting together I want to say about 40 to 50 people in kind of an agency mode. And within 3 months, we were able to launch about 30 new website pages from scratch while developing everything that you've seen on the go. And these slides also, I want to just to give credit where credit is due. The slides that you've just seen about our own case study were written by a member of my team, Sarah Nellison, who was the leading product marketer on this project. And I actually think I am done on time. Well done. So thank you very much for listening. If there are any questions from the audience, I can spare several minutes to answer them, and then I really have to go.
We actually want more, however. Sorry, cannot do something about that. Okay, we actually have a couple of questions.
Sure.
We have one question saying that where do you draw the line between? This is a good one. The responsibilities of marketing and product marketing. I think we get that like every day now.
Pretty much, we get that every
In
day.
class, that is. I mean, okay.
I don't know if I can answer that question in a minute or less, but I can try and answer it very, very simplistically. And whoever you are, you can look me up on LinkedIn or Facebook, and we can have a longer discussion about it. The way I see it, product marketing owns the user's journey and experience beyond the point of sign up. So essentially, it's about retention. It is about cross-sell and upsell. It is about stickiness of the product and communicating product benefits while the person is actually using the product. Marketing is about bringing those users in. A lot of the times, the lines are blurred when marketing is relying on product benefits to bring those users in, and then product marketing has to step in and to advise, a lot of the time, sometimes even to be hands-on in marketing efforts, top of funnel, and all of that. That is as quick as I can answer that.
Okay, I have one of my own actually, a bit
Sure.
more harsh, perhaps. Where do you draw the line between product marketing and product management?
Oh, loving that. Actually, that is a much clearer line to draw, and I can use my favorite metaphor that I've prepared for that. Product management, the product organization, is responsible for building Disneyland. Okay, they are building the most exciting, best ever Disneyland that was ever built. However, they built Disneyland on an island 5 kilometers offshore. If you stand on the beach, you see Disneyland. If you really, really, really want to go to Disneyland, you will swim to Disneyland. 99% of people will not swim to Disneyland. For those people, we sell tickets to the ferry and we operate the ferry. So that is product marketing is all about creating anticipation and creating and building a sentiment around the product. And basically, a lot of the times, saving product managers from themselves by smoothing out some of the edges that product managers overlook in the pursuit of getting stuff to work.
I think that our fellow PMs will be excited by this statement right now. I think. Okay. I think, yeah, I mean, yeah, well, there are many questions there. Where you draw the line? Where should product marketing be? Should it be under marketing or should it be under product? Should it be something different? I mean, there are many blur lines there currently. But I don't want to keep you for the whole afternoon because I guess you have also to attend something else. We have another one. What is your POV regarding medical services nutritionist websites? Should the business focus on highlight the service or the personnel offering it to achieve an initial familiarization with the audience?
That is a very difficult question because I know that this is a terribly regulated field in which you know more about what you can't say than what you can say. Um, I don't think I have an easy response for that. I would always, and I mean, this is obviously it's product marketing, but from a different angle. I will always focus on where a product benefit meets a persona. Usually, it's it, it's a very elusive point, but you start with my product does this, or by using my product, this happens to you, and then you start thinking who the you is. So if you are, I don't know, um, men in their 60s, then what? Then this it becomes clear. If you are women trying to conceive, then this becomes clear. What this does. And again, I know that for the nutrition and medicinal industry, there's a lot about what you can't say and claims, and like I've been there in the previous life, so good luck with that. Again, if you want, feel free to look me up on LinkedIn. I'll be very, very happy to answer those questions. Unfortunately, I do have to leave, and I've had an absolute blast. Thank you, Despina, for always. Sorry for
Our pleasure to have you. Our pleasure.
for having it. Yeah, for dragging me by by the fingernails. I ended up making it. I hope that.
It's our pleasure again. We are way a bit over time, so thank you all for watching.